Now, let's wrap up here. Now, look at this. This is coming out of Hebrews 11. Now, everybody knows that it's the faith chapter, right? So let's see what he says. These, yeah, this is Abraham. How do you know that? For those of you who don't have a Bible with you, let me show you that I'm not just making that up, okay? So Hebrews chapter 11 is where we're going, folks. Where are we? Hebrews down here. So we're on verse 13. Now look, this is the context. It starts talking about Abraham, right? Faith of Abraham. Abraham did this, that, and the other, and then it talks about. So watch. So he starts talking about Abraham. So Abraham did what? He obeyed. Then by faith, he did all this stuff in a foreign country, blah, blah, blah. And then he had who? Isaac and Jacob. So who's he talking about? These heirs, Isaac and Jacob, heirs of Abraham, with him. With him is Abraham. The heirs is Jacob and Isaac. All right? Of the same promise. The promise God gave to Abraham, he gave that same promise to Isaac and to Jacob. For he waited. Who's the he? The he is Abraham. Abraham waited on something. What did he wait for? He waited for the city. What's the city? The same city Jesus talked about that he was going to prepare a room for you in. What city is that? New Jerusalem. This is where you and I and every other believer who dies in this world going to live forever. You're not going to be on some cloud. You're not going to be in heaven. This is where you're going to live, in the New Jerusalem. You want to read about it? Go read about it in Revelation chapter 21 and 22. It talks about it. All right. Who has foundations, whose builder and maker is who? God. Jesus says, I'm going to prepare a place for you. So who built it? Jesus Christ. All right. Now, then he gets into verse 11. We were picking up on verse 13. Gets into verse 11. He starts talking about Sarah and how she was having Isaac, and she was looking for a promise too. All right. Then the scriptures that I had pointed out to you started with the word these. So who were we talking about? He was talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And with Abraham, you had Sarah. Okay, so that's who he was talking about. These all, they all did what? They all died. But they died in faith. What is in faith? In Christ. Not having received the promise on earth, folks. They received it in heaven. But they didn't receive what God told them and didn't see it with their own eyes. But having seen, you see, they saw them afar off. How did they do that? They looked through the eyes of faith. They simply believed God that he was going to do what he promised, even though they wouldn't be alive to see it. Were assured of them. They were assured. Embraced them. What? They embraced the promises. See? They had confidence in God. And confessed. See, that's how you know that they had that confidence. That they were what? They were strangers. Same thing Peter said. Now the writer of Hebrews using the exact same words. Strangers and pilgrims. Where? On this earth. These are believers, folks. That's what a believer is. He is a stranger and a pilgrim in this physical world. You're not a resident. You are a citizen of heaven. That's the place. See? That's what you are. you should see it the exact same way they saw it, through the eyes of faith. All right, now, because I got some stuff highlighted on the other one, we'll back up and go back to this point. All right, so what do we see? They were pilgrims and strangers where on the earth. For those who say such things, declare plainly. We who say such things, we declare plainly that they seek a homeland, meaning they're not home here on this earth. Folks, I'm not home here. I'm not comfortable here. Only because of my desire to go home and be with my Father in heaven. But I know I have to be here to do what? To finish the work He gave me. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they had come, come out of? What country? Ur. They came out of Ur of the Chaldeans. That's where those folks were from, all of them. They would have had an opportunity to return. Return where? Return to Ur of the Chaldeans. Babylonians, folks. But now, this is a constant. This is a present participle. It is always now. Now, they desire a better. That is a heavenly. Are you desiring a heavenly country? Why? Because you are a citizen there. Remember what we're talking about. We're talking about the place. Where's your place? Where's your mind? It should be on the heavenly country. Just like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Sarah. They understood. And this is how you can live right, folks. You understand that you are a stranger. You understand that you're a pilgrim here on earth, that you are not going to fit in. You are different. You're going to behave different. You belong to a different kingdom who has a different king. You were purchased out of a kingdom of the devil, who was your king. Now you are in the kingdom of Christ through the precious blood, and He's your king. You're a citizen of heaven. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God. You see? God isn't ashamed of us. Why? Because He's the one that gave us birth, put us in that kingdom, made us citizens of heaven, and now we're living as pilgrims, living here as strangers, carrying out what? Our conduct in fear and reverence of the Lord. That's what we're doing. Or that's what we should be doing. For He has, who done it? Prepared a city for them. Same thing we read in the verse 9 through 12. Same thing.